So last night, my plan that I had in my head originally was to follow the south shore of Brodor Lake down what's called King's Road. But then when I woke up, I got looking again and realized there's a much shorter route to take along what's called the Grand Narrows Highway. So I set off out from North Sydney. Had to hop on the Trans-Canada just for a second to get to the right exit to take. And then started heading down the Grand Narrows Highway. And, it's an awesome road. It was nice to get off down a random, fairly rough, up and down, windy, turny road that going through places I haven't been before. After all that backtracking on Newfoundland that I did, just going down the Trans-Canada where it's good smooth highway and so much traffic, getting down this country road for a while today was awesome. There was a few times that I pulled over to let people pass me because they clearly have been down the road before and knew all the twists and turns, so they were more confident going fast through there. But myself, I didn't know what was around each corner as I went, so I took it slow and took it easy. It's strange. Last night I had this weird dream where my truck flew off a cliff. And then today I ended up going down these windy, turny roads, and it was in the back of my head the whole time that, like, did I have some kind of prophetic dream? And I was worrying myself a bit, so I just took it slow, and it was a beautiful drive. Up and down, and left turn, right turn, tight turns. It's much more what I feel like driving down instead of just the main highway. You get to see a lot more out in places like this. There's a bit of construction in spots, but nothing really too major, and because there was so little traffic through here, I didn't get held up at them for very long. And really, the nice part of the year, there's always going to be lots of construction, because then for the not so nice part of the year, the winter, the roads just get beat up, and it's a constant struggle road crews have to keep things usable. This bridge crossing here at Iona crosses a really narrow part of the arm of Brodor Lake. It's got a couple of northern arms that I would have thought would be named something different and considered their own body of water, but they aren't. It's all one great big lake with a bunch of fingers that point up to it, and I'm pretty sure it opens up to the ocean at the top of one of the fingers, too. Bridge is a little bit rough, but still a nice spot to cross. I wanted to be an architect back in the day when I was going through school. I ended up being on the lower end of that and doing the actual construction work, but when I see a nice piece of engineering like that, I gotta give respect to it. I like passing through these little small towns too. Each one of them always has a prominent church sitting there, and they're always nice buildings. So I enjoyed my day driving along. I made it all the way back to the Canso Causeway by about lunchtime and parked there for the night. Didn't feel the need to go any further. I got the kitty cat out walking around on the beach. I'm getting ahead of myself. You'll see that later in the video. But I think she liked getting out somewhere familiar too, where we've been for a walk or two before already. And I put the canoe in and paddled around and went fishing a little bit. Didn't catch too much, but I caught one nice little mackerel that I cooked up right after I got to shore, and even though it was only a few mouthfuls worth of fish, it feels so good to catch something yourself and cook it up and eat it, and had some potatoes tucked away in the camper, so I fried some of them up too. And it's such a good feeling to fend for yourself like that. Didn't have to pay a dime today for dinner. And these twisty turny roads, to get back to what you're actually watching here, oh, they snake through the landscape like hardly ever a straight stretch. It was such a nice change of pace after being flying down the highway through Newfoundland. I really had no choice. There's only the one road really in Newfoundland. But then when I got back to Cape Breton here, having the multitude of choices of which way to go, it's a lot nicer. I'm rambling, more or less to fill time, because I wanted to put a nice bit of video up of the windy turny roads. But eventually it did get back to the Trans-Canada here. And traffic wasn't too bad. Really ended up in a bit of a convoy line of vehicles at one point, because there was some campers up ahead and traffic getting stuck behind dump trucks, and I don't really mind it anymore. I used to feel so annoyed and slowed down and stuck when I was stuck in a line of cars, but not anymore. I can just take it easy now. And now I'm really starting to realize that home keeps getting closer and closer, and it'll be nice to get back there, even though the trip might not be over when I get there. It might just be a little interlude before heading straight west and hitting the prairies and going a little bit further and finding some work out there. My uncle keeps calling and telling me that he can find me work, and I really hope that he can, because it would be nice to head out west. I like being around mountains. The mountains out here on the East Coast are really, really beautiful, but to go see the Rocky Mountains again and to hang out near them for a while would be pretty great too. So I got back to the causeway, didn't cross it, just turned off right after the swing bridge here and parked where I was last time. It's a really nice spot here. It was calm weather, luckily, so I was able to get out paddling. It can change in the blink of an eye, though. There was a few times that I was out there and the wind picked up heavy and started rocking the boat pretty good. Started blowing me away from shore, and fighting those waves is a little bit tough at times, especially since you can't get turned around properly uh, to get nose into the waves. Sometimes you get stuck sideways and they're rocking you. And I got Kitty out. She just loves playing in the rocks, and I like taking her for walks on the rocks because she follows me better out here than she does when we're in a wide open park. It's like she sees me go walk across a few rocks and she picks her own trail to get to the same one that I'm standing on, and then she finds these little caves and goes into hunting mode like this, darting around like crazy. She goes a little too hard sometimes and runs headlong into things. It's funny to watch, but I feel bad for her when it happens. Lots of neat pieces of driftwood along the shore here, too. She's got to check out everything interesting that she sees. And there was someone out paddleboarding when I got here, and when she got back into land, I asked how it handles, and she was telling me she saw a seal out there that was hanging around checking her out. And yeah, right here the water is 200 feet deep out in the middle of that channel, so it's surprising what creatures come in from the ocean. I went out for a paddle, and then I saw this big, I don't know what it was, but this big black fin kept breaking the surface. Looked to me like a dolphin or a small whale or something. I followed it around for a couple of hours, chasing it, trying to get sights of it, trying to get close of it. And then when I got back to shore, I started talking to a fisherman, and he told me there's sharks in here, and that he's seen a good 7-footer, and he's seen a good 15-footer at times. So someone watch, and maybe you can tell me what this is. He said it might be a porpoise, but he said they're usually in packs. You rarely see a solitary one. So I'd like to know if I was out there paddling with a shark. That'd be pretty cool. Anyways, I caught this little mackerel here, and only a few bites worth of meat on it, but I cleaned it, cooked it, and had a great dinner.